So we are live.
Right.
Yeah!
Yay! We're live.
We were waiting so long, weren't we? We were like, okay, so we're going to be live, and we got all excited, and now we're live. So that's
Okay.
great.
I've not had a makeup artist to do my makeup.
No, I mean, what was I should have sent somebody round with mask on,
should.
visor, and I mean, what was I thinking? We were just having a giggle before the interview went live, and you can tell that we're excited to be chatting here today. I'm Dr. Kate Bartram-Brown, and I'm doing some interviews over the next couple of weeks, just on the run up to everyone going back to school and everyone going back to work, and things are not normal. We're experiencing different social distancing requirements from governments and all different types of things that are now in place. So I thought it'd be really fun to just interview some amazing people that I find amazing, and share their perspective, share their expertise, and let's all, we're all in it together. And this is something that we were just talking about, wasn't it? That we're all in it together.
Definitely, Kate.
So give us a bit of background about you and introduce yourself to our viewers and let them know how amazing you are.
Oh, dear. Well, my name's Helena Kelman, and I'm the Mini-Me Yoga Ambassador in Lanarkshire. I've only been doing this for the past 2 years, Mini-Me Yoga. Prior to that, I have worked in statutory organisations and voluntary sector. Only working with adults. I worked with adults all my working life until 3 years ago, and I decided to become a relaxed kids coach. Prior to just doing that, I actually did my degree and did work with my training on hypnotherapy and life coaching, which kind of got me into a lot of different, other things. And that's where I started working with a lot of adults, and which I'd always done. And with adults, with a lot of people were coming to me about anxiety and stress. And that was the case as well. I worked a lot with parent carers in the carer centre that I worked with. So who were maybe dealing with, children with additional support needs, and a lot of anxiety around the children themselves coping, and also about relationships as well, the effect it was having on relationships. So I was working with the adults, but I also wanted to, for some reason, I started to want to work with the children. And that's why I became a relaxed kids coach, did the training, loved it. And I've been very, very fortunate to have worked within schools, local communities, worked with organisations, charities, working with children and adults and parents. And it's been great. And the Mini-Me Yoga just fitted perfectly into that as well. So the past 3 years, basically, I was always an employee for all my life until 3 years ago, and I decided to set up my own business as Helena Kelman, HK Services, with my coaching, the Mini-Me Yoga, and the Relaxed Kids. So, and it's just flourished from then, and I love it.
That is amazing. I really love your story, because as well, we've been talking about this over the last few days, and again, you mention it, and it's that important aspect of an adult or a grown-up looking after themselves, having that self-care, understanding that they need to take care of their anxiety, their depression, their, whatever they're going through, because that has a direct effect on their family and, who they're working with. So tell us a little bit about that, about, working with, parents that are carers or people who care. How important is that? Because we've got a lot of people now at home. Maybe children are not going to be going back to school because maybe their parents are high risk, or vice versa, or whatever. We now have these different rules in place. So talk to us about the importance of that, Helena.
It's really important for any adult to really look after themselves. And actually, at the moment, I'm doing a 4-week block of sessions in the evening for just adults. And what I always just say to adults or anybody, I always just think about when you go on an aeroplane. Have you ever been on an aeroplane? And they always tell you to put on your oxygen mask. They say, if anything happens, put on your oxygen mask, because you have to take care of yourself before you actually attend to whoever it is that's with you, whether it's a child or something. And I say to them, that's the same in life. So think about that oxygen mask. You have to put that on yourself. So you have to take care of yourself. And a lot of people think, and especially parents, a lot of parents think that self-care is selfish, but it's not selfish. Self-care is actually, you've got to be able to look after yourself before you can look after somebody else. And if you're calm, and if you're looking after your own health and well-being, whether that's physically or mentally, then you're better equipped to look after those that you need to look after, whether it's a child, whether it's an adult. And it's not, sometimes I think people think self-care is you have to go away somewhere, you have to go away to a retreat, or you have to do something like, just to go away somewhere and spend money. But it's not. It's even just about taking 2 minutes, 5 minutes in your day that you can either just sit in a room if it's quiet, go out in a garden, go to a park, just do anything for you to get 5 minutes peace. And that just really helps. It just recharges and actually helps your own mental state. So it's really, really important.
I agree. And this is, one of the things that I realized early on when teaching kids yoga. It's like we were giving all these amazing tools to the kids, which they loved, of course. But then, of course, if they go back home and they're still in a stressful environment, or perhaps the parents weren't knowledgeable about these tools or didn't know they existed, and then they had different patterns, it was very difficult for the children to maintain. And of course, we see that in schools as well and in homes. So it's really, I feel extremely important that parents, adults, aunties, uncles, grandmas, grandpas, whoever it is, get on board with it, because I don't know if you found this, but children never seem to do what we say, but they do what we do.
Yes, definitely. And that's it. As soon as they see somebody doing something, they will imitate that. So not always what we say, but what you're right, Kate, what we do. And one of the things is like proof of that, you show a child a photograph of something, and the magic yoga cards are actually, like, they're a prime example. We can show the magic yoga cards without even doing a pose, and the children will do it. Nobody's even showing them what to do. And that's what I even say to parents. It's like that kind of thing. They will copy you. Children do copy you. But tell them to do something and they won't always do it. Definitely not. Definitely not.
It's like us, isn't it? As grown-ups, if somebody tells us to do something, I'm not going to do that. But if we see somebody doing something really cool, we're like, oh, okay, maybe I'll try that.
Yeah, that's it. I know. So if somebody tells us what to do, we'll say, who are they talking to? So children are the exact same. I think sometimes we don't give children enough credit at times as well. What they do understand and what they take in. But also they'll challenge, adults, no matter who it is, whether it's a parent, whether it's a carer, whether it's a teacher. They'll always challenge people that are, that's that person that they're seeing maybe on a daily basis or something is particularly as well. So, but yeah, so there's lots of things about self-care that we need to do. And I think it's, no matter how much we talk about it, it's something we should just keep talking about, as I said. And, it's important that people learn. One of the things that I talk about to everybody, or one of the most important things I find about anything is about people learning, like, breathing properly. And I say that to everybody, whether it's a child or whether it's an adult, teacher, anything. If we learn to breathe properly, and it's simple, but it's one of the hardest things in a stressful situation that people find hard to do, is taking that time to actually properly breathe, to calm the central nervous system,
It's very interesting you talk about this, because something that we've discussed before is that we're going to see perhaps situations that are very different for teachers and for parents. Perhaps children can't move around. Perhaps there's going to be restrictions of some kind. Perhaps they can't touch other students and all the things that we're used to doing. And you bring up the most important thing about self-care, which is breathing. Now, everybody can do that, and everybody can do it, you know, no matter what our ability is. So could you give us like a typical top tip that you could share with a parent or teacher on how to engage a child in breath, or an adult? You know, what would you say?
I mean, one of the simplest things I always there's lots of tools that can be used, and obviously you can use tools and you can show people different things for breathing, but a lot of the things I just say to people, most people have two hands, okay? So if you've got two hands, you can do your breath, like breathe in, breathe out. So we call it like take 5. So you would just breathe in through your nose, breathe out through your mouth, breathe in, breathe out. Now, that can be practiced. A child who's under stress or sitting in a classroom, they've got their hand down here. They can do it under the desk. They don't even need to do that. The teacher can do that. The teacher can be sitting stressed and actually just take a deep breath in and out and trace, as I say, just trace your fingers. It's easy to do that. And you don't need that. You don't need any tools to do that. You know, another thing that I always, you know, like you can use things like, say, an elastic band, like just breathing in and out, like breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Now, you don't always, I give children elastic bands, or I've got them on my wrist for that very reason, but children will say to you, but what if I do it too hard? You know, we'll say, well, it's going to snap, but you don't do it too hard, you know. But girls have baubles in their hair, you know, and they can take out the bauble from their hair. So it's just finding little tools that they can use, things like for the breathing when they're sitting, and that it's not really just very, very obvious. And it can be that can be in an exam situation. It can be outside whenever they feel stressed, if there's too many people, or if it's, you know, and it's just learning about that breath without using anything else. But that's just one of the very simple things that can be, anybody can do that, you know.
I love that. I love that. And that's something that we wanted to talk to you about is, you know, this all inclusion, because would you mind telling, you know, the viewers something about your daughter and how you've been able to work with different situations, yoga, breathing, meditation, all that kind of stuff, and how you can make things all inclusive for everybody, no matter what their situation is?
Yeah. Well, my daughter Lisa, she's 28. She's a wheelchair user, and she has cerebral palsy, learning difficulties, and she takes startle seizures. But she's vocal, and she's very sociable. And with Lisa, it's really important I think for anybody, no matter whether they're in a wheelchair, whether they've got other conditions at all, and this is for children or adults as well. There's still a lot of things that you can do. The importance of breathing is very good for people's chest, lungs, no matter what their condition. So it's really, really good, the importance of breath. But again, I've always tried to treat Lisa that give her opportunities and give her the chances. Now, there are things, you have to be realistic. There are things that are maybe beyond your capability, but what you can do is break those down. So, for example, I do, like with the mini-me yoga, I will do things like I'll do the mountain pose, okay? And I will say to her, right, she's sitting in a wheelchair, so, you know, it's about a posture. So you're helping somebody's posture, whether they're sitting on a chair, it doesn't need to be a wheelchair, but whether somebody has problems at all, it's about sitting, posture, also about that breath and the importance of the breath. Also things like maybe like stretching arms, like the warrior or something. So if someone she can't lift her arms up to here, like many people or anything. So you only take it as far as you can and trying to get a stretch. So it's about being inclusive. And I have did sessions with many people in schools, and there have been kids with additional support needs. I've also did things like for people for hard of hearing, and taught teachers and teaching assistants with an interpreter by my side for 2 hours, that was an experience. But again, it's about thinking of ways, instead of sometimes traditional things we think we would do something, it's thinking about, if you were unable to do that for whatever your condition is, how can you break that down, or what is easiest to do, for somebody who is hard of hearing, so lots of visuals. So even kids who are on, with additional support needs, or kids that are on the spectrum, sometimes it's about having a lot of visuals. So the breathing thing that I spoke about, I have a picture of that, but it shows you. So you can have these things, lots of visuals that they know, also visuals about what your next step's going to be. So it's about thinking of ways that if you couldn't do that, how much of that exercise or how much of that can you do? And it's really important for people of who has any illness or disability to still feel that self-worth, that importance, and know that they can do things as well. They are not excluded. They can be included. So it's about that inclusiveness. But again, it's been about realistic and thinking beyond just what traditional exercises are. So I always try and find ways of, getting around something and how to do that. And it's the same for any children that I'm working with, or any adults. If somebody says to me, I can't get down on the floor, I say, that's not a problem. We can do this. You don't need to be down on the floor. We'll find a way to do it. So I think it's about finding a way. Sometimes our brains have a block or a freeze, and we think, oh no, this is what I've been taught to do. But think about, if it was you, what you would do.
I like this, because in yoga, well, in, sort of traditional yoga, certainly the yoga that the lineage that I practiced with for many, many years, it was about your own journey and about your own body and what it can do. It was certainly not about, I have to look like the instructor doing the pose, or I have to look like this person, or I should be this far advanced or this far advanced. And I think sometimes we can bring that competitive element into perhaps yoga, or even well-being. I know it sounds, but why can't I do that? Or why can't I touch my toes? And this is something that I've always wanted to promote. And as you know, in Mini Me Yoga, we're always saying you don't need any experience, just the will to have fun, and we're going to always adapt everything. Everything is useful. And this is something that I really wanted, for us to talk about, because we are coming into a time now where there are going to be certain restrictions for both parents and teachers alike. And we need to adapt, and we need to make sure that, everything that we're doing, we're not beating ourselves up about, oh, well, we should have been doing this, or we should have been doing it like this, or it would have been better like this. We are doing what we can, and then we are accepting it, and in doing that, we're actually enjoying the process, rather than being like, oh, kind of, painful or whatever it is. So I really, wanted us to, talk to the parents in particular about the fact of, it's very overwhelming, all this information of well-being, perhaps yoga, perhaps meditation, mindfulness, and let's think about all of those parents who've perhaps never done anything before. They don't know anything about this, but they've got all of these stresses coming in. The children are, going into, schools next week or two. You're already back, aren't you?
We're already back in Scotland. The schools are already back. So this is like the second week back.
so those children are now going through that process of it being very different, and, you know, those stresses as well. So, you know, what can we say to parents in particular that perhaps have no formal training of well-being, no formal training in education, or no formal training of anything? What top tips would you give them as kind of, you know, as a parent to parent?
For me, and I've spoke to many parents through lockdown, and I've actually visited many at a distance because of a lot of the stress that they were under during lockdown. And what I always just say to parents, I think there is so much has been out there, is like, do not stress, do not think you have to compete. Being in your own home or being with your children, you know them best. Okay, you know them best. You know them better than anybody else. Only do what you can do. If you can, that's basically just take it very, very slowly and gently, and don't feel under any pressure. You're doing a remarkable job. You can't, to try and be a parent, a teacher, a mum, you know, a wife, a partner, as well as maybe sometimes a working mum, trying to deal with like this that we are doing just now, maybe talking here like on a Zoom call, or somebody's talking, they're having meetings, and meantime there's 2 or 3 children running about, and the stress of that, I mean, you can actually just feel the stress. So I think it's just about, you know, you can only do what you can do, and just try and remember some of the things, like simple things. There's no pressure to do anything that you don't want to do, but to keep your own, like that thing about self-care comes back. The one tip I would say is give yourself 5 minutes, even 5 minutes. There's nobody can tell me they can't take 5 minutes out a day to even get peace, even if you lock yourself in the toilet, do you know, 5 minutes just to get peace. And it is just about getting some me time as well. So I think there's, you know, and if you want to take up something, or you want to do like the mini-me yoga, you want to do some other form of yoga, or you want to do some form of exercise, do it if you want to do it. Don't do it because somebody else wants to do it or something. If it's swimming, when the swimming pool's open, go back to swimming, whatever it is. And sometimes it's as well about, for parents, our carers, they sometimes forget who they are as a person, because they've been so busy thinking of the children or who it is they're caring for. So sometimes they've got themselves lost about what they really want and really like. And sometimes it could be just about finding something. It's not even like, I'm not saying it's not energetic, but maybe you once played a musical instrument, and that is your self-care thing. You pick that guitar, or go to a piano lesson, or do whatever it is that you once, or you wanted to do. It's never too late to fulfill your dreams. Never too late. And I think we get lost in that sometimes. We think, I can't do that now, or I used to do that. But it's still that same person that's within you. So you can still do, or go back to doing something that you really enjoyed. And that in itself is self-care, you know.
I agree. And I think this situation of the lockdown has given a lot of people a chance perhaps to reflect on what they're doing in their world, in their life, you know, what, like you said, remembering all the things that they want to do in life. And to me, I would call that having fun or joy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know?
Laughter is the best remedy, and you can play simple games with your kids. You don't even, what I do is when I'm like with parents and children, when I'm working with parents, particularly, I'm very aware that a lot of parents or families, they don't have a lot of money, so they can't always go out and buy something. So it's about using things that's within your home, or things that your children have already got. But there's plenty of things that you can do to have fun with within your home. Do you know, or out in a garden, you don't need to. You can go outside and have fun with, like, you know, like, so with the leaves. You can have whatever flowers, or you can have like branches. There's lots of things you can do outdoors. It doesn't cost any money. There's things that you have within your home that you can make, like if there's jars or boxes. You can decorate them. There can be positivity boxes or positive jars. There's lots of various things that you can use, recycle, that you don't need to go out. I'm always just aware that, you know, sometimes somebody will say, oh, they can get this on Amazon, or you can get this here, or you can get this there. You don't need to buy anything to have fun. And laughter is one of the best things for you and your child, or for anybody that you're looking after, you know?
I totally agree. And as you know, I'm always, if we're not having fun, why are we doing it? So
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter that you look silly, do you know? It doesn't matter.
That is the key thing. And I wonder if, we can take this, home with us from this interview, is that honestly, being silly and looking silly is amazing. It's like, it's like a lift. Don't need to buy like expensive creams and things like that.
No.
It's like you radiate and you look amazing, because when we do the shakeout and we're like, shake out and the mini yoga, and then we end up going,
the shakeout is so important. Like, the kids love it, but when you do it with adults, they also love it. And you see their faces changing, because you're releasing that oxytocin and everything, and that happy chemical, that is just the best remedy, the best laughter. And actually, I'm just going to give you a laugh just now, because the other night in my kitchen, I had a friend of mine in, and he was doing IT stuff for me. And I just started to put some music on, and I was doing the actions for kuchua, 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 wah, wah. And it was crazy. And he's looking at me saying, you're crazy. But do you know what? It's just about having fun. And we sometimes forget that element. And even parents sometimes think, oh, I have to be a bit more reserved because I'm a parent, or I'm looking after somebody. And do you know, but fun is the best. It's the best, honestly, remedy. It is laughter, and fun is just, and it's free. It's laughter free. It's free. You don't need to have fun and laugh. You don't need to pay for anything at all. Nothing.
I love that. And like we've talked about, the thing, breathing and fun, like the two biggest things that we can bring into our life for our mental and emotional well-being, for our physical health, for everything, and they're both free. They're both free.
Yeah, exactly. They don't cost anything. And it doesn't matter if you have a child who is even in a wheelchair, or who's non-verbal or anything, but you can see on their faces, particularly if it's a parent or a carer, they know the difference. Because sometimes if you put music on or you do something, they will see the difference, or they'll do some kind of movement or rocking. A parent, a carer knows that child best, and they know the difference, even if it is something that, maybe somebody else doesn't see. So it is about having fun, and it's fun for everybody, and anything can be free. Do you know that fun, laughter, as you said, breathe. That's why I talk about the breath so much, because it's so important to calm us, and but also it's free as well.
I love that. And so just to kind of finish off on our interview, the children are now back.
Yes, the children are now back at school. They're back 5 days. They're back in full time. Yes.
Yeah. And obviously the children in England and Wales are going back in the next week. So
yes,
we have a huge difference. So we say it's like 5 months or so of some parents seeing their children off to school, or their children are now at school, and maybe they're going to work again. And so we've got a huge change coming. What do you expect to see in the up and coming weeks and months with children behaviorally? What should we be looking out for? What should we be, because some children, as we know, are quiet, some are, what are we looking for? And then what do we do? How can we get help?
I think at the moment the schools are back here 2 weeks. I'm not back in the schools yet, but by all accounts and from people I've spoke to, teachers and parents, most children have adapted well to going back, better than they sometimes thought. I think it was because they have just went back, and it's about seeing their friends, are seeing the normal, what was their normal life previously, seeing the teachers, being in that environment. But I expect over the coming weeks and months, when things start to settle, that the effect of children, I think the learning will be more difficult because they have been away from that whole learning curve environment for 5 months and being in home. And I think also there'll be some situations where children will find it quite, the anxiety will be stressful, maybe in crowded places. Maybe if they do, and at the moment, assemblies are not being done here, they're being done online within the schools. So within each, it's been streamed across the classrooms. But again, that is not normal, and children will start to feel unsettled. I think they'll be craving and looking for what they had in a bit of normality, rather than being told, which we spoke about earlier, being told you can't do this, you have to do this because of this. And I think what we need to do is we, our parents and people that are working with them, is we have to deal with them with that individually. We have to deal with the children's needs and their emotional well-being. And I think more than ever, there's going to be a lot of more help, from ourselves and other people to help really, find out from the children what are those things that are underneath. And I think with all intent and purposes, teachers and schools are dealing with so much. They're dealing with all the new normal or whatever it is in a completely different environment and trying to deal with, being back as well. But I think they're not going to be able to, not saying probe, but they're not going to be able to find out everything about all what's hidden. And there will be children who are quieter and, they'll need some interventions. Definitely, I reckon there'll be a lot of intervention is going to be needed. Because there'll be a lot of things that over these 5 months that children have kept close to themselves, not wanting to maybe tell an adult, and maybe, it's been a stressful situation at home. So I think it's we have to watch very carefully in the coming weeks and months. I think that, as I said, we're at the initial stage, and most children have adapted pretty well. But I think now, when the settling down period happens, we have to really monitor children and then get the interventions, whatever those. And I think teachers are going to have to try and find out. They will start to notice that the children, whatever, whether they're acting up or as they think, or there's behaviours coming forward. But the teachers can't deal with everything, so they need to have other people to intervene to help them. So it's about getting the help that's out there as well.
Yeah, I think we have to do this as one family, don't we? All together, parents, teachers, aunties, uncles, grandpas, grandmas, everybody together. Because we don't know, what might crop up or what might show itself. So we can be on hand and ready. And of course, Mini-Me Yoga, we've got the free membership group that we're running whilst it's free, certainly whilst COVID and going back to school and what have you. So we've got 60 experts, including yourself, sharing their expertise and ideas every day. So again, if people want to join that, I'll pop the link in the in the comment box. And Helena, if people want to get in touch with you for one of your sessions, where can they get in touch with you?
I'm on Facebook. I'm on Mini-Me Yoga Lanarkshire Facebook, and I'm also on Twitter as well. So they can contact me on Twitter or Facebook. And I also have a website which has currently been updated, www.helenak.co.uk. But feel free just to contact me, message me, anything at all, whether it's teachers, whether it's assistants, whether it's parents, anybody at all, feel free. And even if it's only just for a piece of advice or just asking something, then that's fine. I don't mind that.
That's wonderful. That's so kind and generous. I want to put your website address in the comments, so I'll make sure that's in the comments for everybody as well. they can get in touch, please do reach out, because Helena's got a wealth of knowledge and background working with all sorts of different situations. So please feel free. We are in this together, and that's the whole purpose of doing this.
Can I just add, Kate, there's no such thing as a stupid question, because a lot of people say, this might be a stupid question. There's no such thing. If there's something that is in your mind and you want to ask about it, ask it, because it's not stupid. So there's no such thing as a stupid question.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. And we've got a few comments. I'll just read a few comments out. Yeah. So Amanda's saying, absolutely, fun and laughter, the best medicine. And she loves the Take 5 breathing. And we have somebody else who's commented, I don't have their name, unfortunately, on here, but it says, I totally agree with not giving children enough credit. They know and are often more aware than we are. Yes, we agree.
Yes, definitely.
And then somebody else is, again, I don't have their name, unfortunately, but they're saying, Helena certainly knows what she's talking about. She's just amazing. So you've got your
thank you.
So, yeah, I'm so pleased. Thank you so much for today to share these top tips with us. And I'm sure there's going to be lots of people reaching out to you and booking all sorts of different classes and sessions and things with you right away. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, I'll see you again very soon, because obviously Mini-Me Yoga, but for everybody else, we'll see you soon. And please, feel free, if you want to join our free membership group for Mini-Me Yoga, you're welcome. And also for grown-ups, I have also 3 meditations that go on, 3 free meditations that happen 3 times a week. And you're most welcome to join us in those as well. So lots of love to everyone. Take care.
Have a lovely Monday. Bye.
Bye.